Welcome back. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Windshield time. So today I want to talk about the confusion in our medical marijuana enforcement here in Missouri. And I use the word confusion lightly. A couple days ago, the city of Belton did a pretty significant bust that showed pictures of a lot of drugs on tables or things they claimed were drugs and products. And okay, maybe it was, maybe they did. But they also made a statement that despite approving medical marijuana, there are no licensed dispensaries available, and medical marijuana must be purchased from a licensed dispensary, so you can't possess it. That is wrong. Completely and totally. That statement is wrong factually, that statement is wrong legally. The city of Belton should know better, and by God, I hope somebody takes them to task. Now, Daviess County, Missouri is currently holding a man in custody for the second time for possessing and using medical marijuana. Let me make this perfectly clear, although that is too far of a drive for me to undertake pro bono. I just don't have the time. The Missouri Constitution gives citizens of the state of Missouri a right to use medical marijuana. This is not like any other drug or alcohol where you don't have a right. Under our Constitution, you now have a right to use medical marijuana. That is not a minor point. Because our Constitution provides for a right to use medical marijuana, the state has to jump through different hoops. Okay? And the Constitution gave you the right to possess and use medical marijuana as of 30 days after this passed, or December 5th, 2018. However, there were no patient ID cards until this past summer. So you still had to have a patient ID card. That said, once the state started issuing the patient ID cards, you have your patient ID card, you have a right to possess medical marijuana. The state has no way of distinguishing between non-medical and medical marijuana at the moment because the state hasn't gotten their systems down. There will be regulations to that effect when the state gets to that point. They will change the regulation and they'll require it to be purchased from a dispensary. However, at this moment, the Constitution mandates that you have access to it. The Department of Health and Senior Services has said you have access and a right to it. However, you get some small entities, counties, police departments, officers that have decided that they know better than the Missouri Constitution. The answer to that is fight them. If the lawyer you've hired or you're dealing with doesn't understand the medical marijuana rules, regs, and Constitution, have them call me. I will always make time to talk to an attorney. Hell, have them call Dan Viets. Dan Viets has never rejected a call from an attorney that I'm aware of. Although my saying that here probably will, he may not take my call next time. But look, marijuana attorneys, experienced criminal defense attorneys understand these things. We deal with them all the time, and by God, they're ready to fight around the state. I will tell you that I have yet to meet a criminal defense attorney in the state of Missouri that did not have time or willingness to talk to another criminal defense attorney who had a question. So this can be fought, it should be fought, and by God, if you have been charged with possession of marijuana and you have a medical ID card, I would like to know about it. Please email me, pat@pattalkslaw.com. Okay? I am building a database, I'm building a file so that I can count how many times this happened. for any eventual appellate information. What we're going to have here is there are people that are going to get busted. They're going to get hammered on. And it sucks. But they're going to be those first key people in this situation. They're going to have to fight it. And they're going to spend some time in jail while they're doing that. So that's where we are with the medical marijuana issues in Missouri for that particular subject. The second part of this is, as we all heard and found quite humorous, that the Department of Health and Senior Services has decided that you cannot pay your fees and expenses to the department in cash. Which, for most business people across the state, are thinking, yeah, okay, so what? Nobody uses cash. Not for that kind of money. Well, in the case of marijuana-related industries, you can't use the banking system. There are very, very few banks that will take a marijuana client. And the ones that do hit you with exorbitant fees. You're talking like $10,000 a month to have the account, which is ridiculous. They're just, they might get the business in the short run, but the bank's going to get blacklisted in the long run. And, it bothers me to say this. One of them is my bank. But that's going to change. We will see a change in the banking structure and allowing medical marijuana, cannabis-related businesses to utilize the banking system. It's going to take a little while. Which brings me to Wednesday's vote. My God, that was critical. On Wednesday, we had a vote in the House committee that held what they decided. They voted to deschedule marijuana. There are other things in there, but that's essentially the gist of it. And we can talk about the details on another video. Remember, windshield time is just shooting from the hip. I didn't go do special research. So there might be something that's even incorrect. And if there is, you guys are going to call me on it because you're sharp. So, the essential gist of it is that there was a vote in the committee to deschedule marijuana. There's a long way to go before that happens federally. Okay? You have to get through the full House. Then it's got to be presented in the Senate and get through the Senate. Then you have your coordinating committee that's going to work out differences between the Senate and the House bill. Then a final vote, and it gets approved and sent up to the president for signing. Don't know how that's going to go. But even if they do choose to deschedule marijuana federally, it doesn't change a place like Missouri where marijuana is illegal. But it will make federal parks a whole hell of a lot more popular. What does that mean? That means that the prohibition on interstate transfers, the federal prohibition, is going to go away. You'll be able to buy the best strains of marijuana from California. And the medical marijuana companies will be able to purchase the best strains of marijuana from other states. And again, we'll have to amend the Constitution because everything has to be homegrown. But that will allow us and allow interstate commerce in marijuana and marijuana-related products, which is a plus. Descheduling will allow marijuana companies access to the banking system. It's good all the way around. But it's going to take a long time for that to filter down to the states. A state like Missouri may well go for full decriminalization or legalization well before that. And here's one of the catches. If they want to be able to tag on exorbitant taxes and clean up at the expense of marijuana users, the state has to do this before the feds decriminalize it. Once marijuana is legalized on a federal level, the state's power to treat it differently than any other product is going to go away. So the state of Missouri needs to move on that now if they're actually intending to plug a cash cow into place. So that is a brief roundup, medical marijuana. Remember, if you or somebody you know has been charged or cited for possessing medical marijuana, please drop me an email, put a comment in the comments, let me know. If you or somebody you know was stopped with their medical marijuana and the officer gave them back their medicine and allowed them to go on their way unmolested, I'd like to know that too. Drop me an email, pat@talkslaw.com. Put a comment in the comment section. Tell us what department the officer was from. They deserve to be called out for good behavior. You know, people have no problem calling out the police when they perform poorly. Let's let them know when they're doing stuff right. So thank you very much. Please hit like, subscribe. I'll be talking to you soon.